CBC family, we have begun the long-anticipated process and maybe the confusing, maybe messy process of Iowa opening back up and along with that, the discussion of our churches opening back up. Unfortunately, there is some confusion surrounding the question of what churches can or can't do at this time. We wanted to talk through that with you a little bit. Some of the things that the governor has said recently indicate some hope for churches being able to meet for regular ministries again. But some of the confusion about the issue actually kind of just highlights the fact that there's a little bit more to it than just whether or not restrictions are lifted. So the things that the governor has said or not said, wanted to discuss those with you, share a little bit what they don't mean for us, and then what they do mean for us. First of all, the governor changing some of the restrictions in our state doesn't mean, first of all, that the danger is gone. The government's positions are not just about whether or not the danger is gone. There are other factors to consider, and we know the main chief factor was flattening the curve and helping to not overwhelm our health systems. And it seems like for most part, in most counties, we're beyond that, but that doesn't mean the danger is gone for everybody. That's something we still need to consider in what we do as a church and as individuals. Another thing it doesn't mean is that everyone's on the same page. We understand you might have thought, oh, this should have come weeks ago, or maybe you're thinking you're not ready to do anything for another couple weeks. And we understand there are lots of different factors that play into all of your different individual opinions and preferences on those issues. And how we act as a church is gonna be a variety of those things. So it doesn't mean everyone's on the same page. Another thing it doesn't mean is that the time is yet right for us to get back together. As I said before, there's more to the question of whether or not restrictions are lifted. There are more factors that we need to consider as a church. We understand that even if and when restrictions are lifted for churches, that may not be true of our whole community. And our county is currently still under significant restrictions. And so it doesn't mean that we necessarily should act in a way that may be confusing or a challenge for the rest of our community as we gather. A few things this does mean, though. It does mean we are closer, and we're thankful for that. We were speaking just recently with one of our missionaries, Keith Jones, in Italy, and he is expecting that their church will probably not be able to meet in person until the fall. And the fact that we get to consider that in the next couple of weeks is a great blessing, and we're thankful for that. We're going to anticipate getting back to normal, regular ministries of the church here soon. That may not be normal, what we used to think of. We might be finding a new normal. But we're expecting in a few weeks' time that we will be regularly able to gather again, and that's a good thing. Another thing this does mean, it does mean we need to think of others first. And I said before, there's more to the question than just whether or not restrictions are lifted. And this is the main thing, really, that should be a part of our equation. Thinking of others first, like Philippians 2 reminds us that we should look out for the interests of others, not just ourselves. And we're trying to understand what is best for our community, not just what our governor says we can or can't do. That's a helpful indicator of maybe the severity and the danger risk level in our community. And as we see that, it does seem to tell us there's still some significant concerns for our community. And we want to do what's best so that we don't act as something that will spread the virus more significantly. We also don't want to act in a way that will send a message to our community that we don't care about whether or not we're spreading the virus or acting in a way that might be detrimental to our city, our county, and things like that. So we want to look out for the needs of others, not just demand our rights, but be willing to step to the back of the line to get what we think we might need or deserve so that we can serve others. Another thing this does mean is that we are ready to move when the community risk is down. When it seems wise, when it seems that the risk is reducing for our community, we want to be ready to start making steps towards our church getting back together. And so right now we're one of the 22 counties that still has restrictions, and that may be changing on on a daily or weekly basis. As of right now, that's in place for the next 2 weeks. When that does change, and when our county is no longer one of those who still require significant restrictions, that will be a significant indicator to us that the community risk is down and we can start doing things that will be able to be done together again. So that's one of the things the key things we're looking for. That being said, when we get to that point and that signal, that indicator is there, the community risk is down, it may be a week or two or maybe more for us to understand what the restrictions are, what the community dynamics are, how we as a church are going to implement those, how we're going to get everybody who participates in our normal Sunday services to be ready to implement those and work together. So it may take a week or two or even more after that point to actually be ready to go live on a Sunday in person again. Another thing we want to communicate is when we do that, when we are ready to start regular services again, our plan would be to do that in a couple different steps. The first step would be Sunday services. And we would probably do that just Sunday morning services. And we want to focus on that first of all. Now, look forward to some more details about what these steps will look like down the road here. But I want you to know that first of all, we're just going to focus on getting that back together. We know though that may mean not everybody. It may be a limited service. Maybe not all of you will be ready to come. Maybe it won't be a scenario where everybody should be here all in the same building. There's still more to be determined for that and all the steps we need to take to get that ready. That will be a limited time. We'll still be encouraging individuals to use wisdom. While we're doing that, while we're bringing back live services here, there will still be services online. So if you're unable to be here in person when we're starting that first step, there will still be the service available online. And Lord willing, that will continue as we continue to meet in person. We'll still have that live streaming option available. Along with that, the first step is changes on Wednesday nights. We've been doing the Zoom classes on Wednesday nights, and many of you have enjoyed getting to see someone face-to-face through a screen and pray and talk. Those will plan to end on May 13th. That's when the Wednesday night classes would have normally ended on our normal calendar. And so those will end May 13th. And then we'll look forward to a couple weeks after that, starting up something for the summer months. A time where we can start meeting in person in limited small group settings over the summer to pray and have some teaching time. We're going to wait on the details about that until some more develops this month, so we understand maybe what the risks and concerns and restrictions may be. But look for that towards the end of May or the beginning of June for more details about what will be on Wednesday nights in place of the Zoom meetings. Another thing that this does mean is that we have a lot of opportunities to grow together through this. As I mentioned, we don't all think the same about this. We might have different preferences or concerns or levels of risk that we're willing to accept. And this is a really good opportunity to prefer one another, to understand each other, and to show love to someone who thinks differently than you. And we really encourage you to communicate and think with us as we navigate some of these complex things. If you have questions or concerns, please reach out and talk to us. Our intent is also to keep communicating with you, and we're going to try to do that in a little bit different way as May begins here. In addition to the things we've been doing over the past 6 weeks, we want to demonstrate for you some of the conversations we have as pastors and leaders. And so every Thursday, we're going to have a roundtable discussion with the pastors as we think through some of the things that impact what's going to be different going forward, how we're going to implement some of these things, and what Sundays are going to look like, and everything like that. So you can see some of the conversations and the things that we're thinking and hoping for as we make these changes. Those will be every Thursday starting in May. And so there'll be a little bit updated schedule for our communication, our media posting. We'll still have our Tuesday and Friday updates, which will be in your email if you've subscribed. If not, please let the office know. Those will also be on our website, calvary.org/COVID, calvarymp.org/COVID. Those will be our Tuesday, Friday updates. We'll also have on Mondays and Wednesdays our normal devotional videos. We won't be doing those every day starting in May. We'll just have those Monday, Wednesday, and then Thursday will be our pastors' roundtable conversations. Again, As we navigate through this, please communicate with us and look forward to what God is going to do through each one of these steps. Pray for us for grace and wisdom because times are changing and every day, every week may be different as we keep taking these steps together.